awakening happening around the body of Christ, and it's pure religion. It's James 1:27. It's the kind of worship. That word religion can be translated worship. It's the kind of worship the Father says He accepts. There is an awakening taking place, and it's exploding. And so that's what we do. We help train and empower and the church, because if we come in alignment with what is in the Father's heart, then it opens up all that He is and all that He has for us. And so that's what these rallies are about. We go into areas and we put on rallies. And so if you're from another area and you want us to come like we just did for West Virginia, we'll do it. My passion is just to empower and to release the knowledge and give and help you raise up the army that God has called the widow to be. God says in Exodus 22:23 that He certainly hears the cry of the fatherless and the widow. He certainly hears the cry. And that isn't just the boo-hoo cry, it's a crying out before God. He certainly hears the cry. And then He says in Proverbs 15:25, He says that God will establish the borders or territory or boundaries of the widow. Girls, have you wondered why you're here? We're to establish the borders and the boundaries. We have an amazing job and an amazing calling. I think that's why Andy was able to turn Chattanooga, Tennessee upside down. When you visit his widows group, my goodness, they pray, they seek God, they cry out, they establish borders and boundaries. And you want the campus to change? You get the widows establishing the boundaries and the borders. You want cities to change, churches to change? You want to bring in the harvest? Look at Leviticus, when it talks about Leviticus 23, when it's telling us all about the feasts. And it's telling us about the appointed times with God. Right in the middle of it, it talks about taking care of the poor, which included the widow and the fatherless. And that the corners, wasn't it? The corners were reserved for them, for us. They couldn't even harvest at one time. It was totally reserved. Oh, there's a harvest. The fields are white with harvest. And it's good for us to have meetings, and potluck dinners and go on field trips and all of that. I'm all for that because it gathers the widows, and we have a part of us that needs fellowship. That's a part of who we are. But you know what? We also need to be taught that God hears our cry, and He will establish our borders. That He will open up the borders. You want to take a city? You want to get rid of pornography? Get rid of drug addiction and alcoholism in your city? Do you want to go after that? Get the widows praying. God hears our cry, and He will establish our borders. Whoa! My goodness, what an honor that God hears us cry out to Him. And so that's why we're connecting leaders with the widows of all types. If they're uncovered, then church, cover them.
Yes.
God will hear their cry, and He will establish their borders. My word.